Hey, EV drivers, how much could you be saving on charging? Enter your zip code at ev.energy/join to find the best deals and utility programs near you. Sign up, connect your EV, and let EV Energy handle the rest, helping you save money and even earn cash incentives where available. Smarter charging, lower costs, and a smaller carbon footprint. What are you waiting for? Start earning today with EV Energy.
So just as a quick intro to this podcast we're about to do with Moshe Isenberg, board member of ChesedChicago. They're raffling off an electric vehicle of your choice. You have a variety of top options or just a cash prize. And just wanted to make sure that we get right up front before getting lost in the details that when you use the code CLEAN, CLEAN, you get $25 off of 2 tickets. They're $100 a ticket, but you get a $25 discount, or you get $500 off 15 tickets with this discount code CLEAN. So just be sure if you go to the raffle, which is ccraffle.com, that you make sure to enter the coupon code CLEAN. Yep, good luck. If you enter, I hope you win. All right, we're here for another episode of Clean Tech Talk. Joining us today is Moshe Isenberg, or as he's told me, he can go by Mo, which I love, Moshe Isenberg. And he's a board member of ChesedChicago. Did I get that right?
Well done. Perfect.
Okay, ChesedChicago. And it's a nonprofit doing great stuff. And yeah, I think we'll just launch into that first. I know I told you we'd start with your background, but just tell us first of all about the organization.
Sure. Good to be with you, Zach. Thanks for making the time, and thanks to everyone that's listening out there. ChesedChicago is an organization that is obviously located in Chicago, but helps with food, helps with clothing, helps with medical assistance, helps with financial assistance to people in Chicago that need it. The word Hesed is a Hebrew word meaning kindness, and the idea behind it was that this was an organization started by a Jewish rabbi in the city who saw the need of people that were really lacking for different things, and decided they were going to really jump in and get to it. And what started as a fund for like a loan fund where people could borrow money and people needed money for medical assistance or for personal needs, turned into this kind of like clothing operation where people can come and get clothing. Then it became this food pantry where people could come and get food. Then it became this medical opportunity where people can go, and we would advise them help them to get medical different opinions with doctors and help them that way. It became this whole spin thing where it went from being just a fund of money to being this ChesedChicago of this kindness, where if there's a need for basically anything, that's what the organization does. I'm super proud to be a part of it as a board member. I was a volunteer. I still am for many years, and my family has been a part of it. My kids come and volunteer. My wife's come and volunteer. It's a very big community organization that, thank God, has really seen a lot of benefit from people really all over the world who understand what we do and say, we want something like that, but we don't necessarily have something like that in our city. But at least we can contribute to something that's going on, and it's a good thing to do. And it really is paying it forward for people that have the benefit of not needing something, but even for anyone that needs, it's done in such a dignified way. It's done in such a nice way where people are able to come in and really benefit from other people's kindness.
That's awesome. I mean, especially it feels like these days it's like it's a competition who can be most mean and cruel, and like it seems like we're kind of in a nasty era of society, and especially social media. I started in this world, in this industry in 2008, 2009. And like back then, it's like, oh, cat videos, cute, funny videos, like all this. It was like the internet was such a peaceful, loving, fun. I'm sure it wasn't all completely or always, but just felt like that. And nowadays, it's like So you got to watch out for all kinds of rage traps online. So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
rage traps everywhere, and it's like there's just too much not kindness. So it's great to hear about. I mean, honestly, just like relaxes you. It's like, oh wow, an organization is focused on being kind. Oh, we need more of that right now, you know. So
Right.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And how did you? What's your background aside from this, and how did you get into this in the
So
first place?
I actually have a my parents were both educators, and so we grew up in that family, and I kind of was nonprofit centered. Growing up, I always wanted to volunteer, and professionally, I work for a different nonprofit actually, and so I'm very involved in the nonprofit world. I actually jumped ship from nonprofit and went to for profit for several years, and then after leaving that, went back to nonprofit because of just the fact that it just really spoke to me, and I really liked the idea of doing something and having a real cause behind it. And so, just being involved in the community here in Chicago and being involved in my own nonprofit and things like that, you get to talk with other nonprofits, and when you're in that world, thankfully you get to meet other people in other organizations, really across the globe. One of them was ChesedChicago, which is my next door neighbor, so to speak. They're in my community, and I started talking to the executive director there, and we just started talking about different ideas of, how they can market better, how they can do better, and what I, different thoughts that I had. And I guess they liked the thoughts I was saying because they asked me to be on the board, and I said sure. I mean, happy to. And so it's really my honor, and I know the honor of the other folks that are on the board also, to be able to really be a part of this, because I often call it the biggest secret in probably in the nonprofit world, I'd like to say, but for sure in Illinois, it's got to be the biggest secret, because it's non-assuming, and they just do. I've actually told them many times, like, you guys don't market enough, but they're just so busy with like you said, Zach. It's so legitimately raw and like altruistic that's what we're doing. We're there, like, we don't have time for any of that. We just need to, let's go. The fundraising is based on events like the one we're going to talk about, and individual solicitations and things like that. But other than that, it's really just we have to do next, and the folks who run the organization, I'm taking myself and the board out of it, but the actual people on the ground, they don't rest. They really don't rest. They see a need, or someone comes to them and says, "Hey, now I need help with this." They say, "Great, we're going to help with that." We don't even know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. And so they look for partnerships, and partnering is my big thing on LinkedIn. And partnering is the big thing that I always promote, because for me, I don't like when people start recreating the wheel and then recreating the wheel and then recreating the wheel. You're left with a pile of wheels, and that doesn't really help. But if you actually think about it and saying, okay, if you can make the wheel, and you can make the carburetor, and you can make the door, then you're left with a beautiful automobile. And that's what I think people have here, is that in the nonprofit world, you do have organizations that overlap, but you do have organizations also that are really good at certain things. And if they would partner up, like I think ChesedChicago does, and I think other organizations have started to do, I think that they will see that there's tremendous benefits. So that's kind of how I ended up there, just by partnering with the executive director and helping him, and just schmoozing and just talking about different things that work and don't work, and that's kind of how any partnership or relationship kind of starts. And I'm, like I said before, I'm super proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's funny. You rolled through some big nonprofit topics there, which brought me back, because 2007 to 2008, I was executive director of a nonprofit based in Charlottesville, Virginia, and the frustrating thing in the nonprofit world is how much time has to go into fundraising and marketing, because you need money to do what you do, but you don't have products in Target or Home Depot or whatever to
Right.
just roll in the money. Like, you have to go out there and market your organization. You have to go out there and get attention and inspire people to donate, or big sponsors or grants, whatever. But you have to look for ways to bring in the money to do the work. And of course, I think, 99% of people in the nonprofit world just want to do the work. They just want to help people. They want to help the world some way. That's why they're doing that, not working for a corporation. And the fundraising and the marketing part of it is hard. It's hard to do. So I like and like you said, like you can end up spread too thin if too many organizations are trying to do similar things when you could combine and have a better, overall machine to do good stuff. So I like your comments a lot. I don't know if people haven't been entrenched in a nonprofit world before, what this sounds like, but you were bringing back a lot of memories and experiences there. So I thought I emphasized some of your points. But really great stuff. I can see why they got you on the board. They're like, probably within 30 seconds, they're like, oh, this guy should be on our board. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good stuff.
And once people get out of their shell, and once people get out of the territorial, no, this is what we do. This is only what we do. Once they can get out of that mindset, which is not easy at all.
Yeah.
But once you can get out of that mindset, it's extraordinarily freeing, and your growth will be exponential. And that's really the challenge is being willing to take that step.
That's a great point. It's a great point. So listeners might be wondering now, like, hey, wait, where's the clean tech angle? We're on clean tech. We're all for helping people, and sometimes we just do broaden what we're talking about or writing about because it's important stuff as well. But there actually is a big clean tech angle here, which I assume is how you found us. And
yeah.
But yeah, what's one of the big things you've been doing? I think for 11 years, if I remember.
Yeah, thank you. So one of the reasons, or the main reason, is your audience, your audienceship, your listenership is so great, and we know that all these folks that listen to you guys, and you guys especially, are so focused on clean energy, and I've listened to your podcast obviously, and it's been fantastic. One of the things that's very big issue for years already has been electric cars, has been EVs. And although they have become significantly more affordable than they were when they started, it's still there's still a barrier to entry on EVs for lots of reasons, and they're still an expensive car. One of the things that we started in 2015, which I think at the time might have been a little revolutionary, because I don't know that anyone else had done it. Now I don't want to put a stamp and say we were the only ones in the world that did this, but we were definitely at the forefront of this. Was in 2015. We had some volunteers who said, listen, why don't we think out of the box, and in order to raise money, why don't we raffle off a Tesla? Now, at the time, 2015, these Teslas obviously were not cheap at all. So, to get a Model S Tesla or whatever it was, it's, $100,000 or something like that. So, the idea behind it was we would sell tickets, and we, although the idea originally might have been, let's go to Tesla and see if they'll donate one, that wasn't going to happen. So we actually sell tickets, and we go ahead, and the winner gets money, a significant amount of money, about $80,000 towards an electric car, and we have written checks to Tesla. We've gone to the Tesla, shop and whatever, and dealership, to the Tesla dealership. We have gone to the Tesla dealership with a check, and written on the check, and with the winner, and the winner has driven the car home. So there has been that kind of the Tesla raffle, which has been an incredible draw for people across the world. In addition, if people didn't want the Tesla for whatever reason, there's a $50,000 prize they can take in its stead. So there was this uniqueness about it in 2015, but at the time we only sold 1,800 tickets, which was great, and we didn't lose money on it, right? We made some money on it, but it was still something that it was like it was a novelty, and we kept going and going and going and going, and now we're selling upwards of 8,000 tickets a year, and we've had winners. We've had winners from Illinois and New York and New Jersey, Canada, but we've sold tickets from to people who live in Great Britain and Argentina and Australia and New Zealand and Mexico and France and Denmark and Switzerland and Norway. We were talking about Norway before. We've sold tickets for people all over the world. Again, the idea is that if someone were to win this raffle, so we can wire the Tesla dealership the money. We can go over there. We just send you a check if you want the cash equivalent. But the idea was, here's an opportunity where you can reach anybody, regardless of any sort of affiliation to anything. Who doesn't want a chance to win an electric car? And the cost, the barrier to entry is $100. And for $100, you know that the money's going to a good cause, and you're helping out communities that are in need. You're helping people who really need it. You're talking about, just to give you a little bit of if I can get back into the nonprofit for 1 second, because that's my nature. You're talking about an organization that's giving $4 million out in food and food gift cards. You're talking about an organization that's giving almost $400,000 out for single parents in financial aid, and $400,000 out in scholarships for kids to help to go to school and go to camp, and another $300,000 in programming just for teens who right now, teens today are, if they're not involved in something that is helping them, they're involved in something that is hurting them just by nature. Whether they're stuck on their iPad or something, or stuck, doing whatever. Our organization provided money to set up programs for them to be doing something, contributing to society. $1 million, over $1 million in medical and pediatric therapies. Almost $400,000 in eviction prevention. And you're talking about so many different things, almost $100,000 in utilities, keeping lights on for people. So a total of almost $10 million that is going to all of these things for people, and you can be a part of that with $100, and you might end up with a Tesla. I remember there was at one of the raffles, one of the big drawing of the raffle, there was a name that nobody knew. Nobody knew this name. No one had heard of this name, and someone actually thought it was like a fake name. Like we just want, it wasn't like John Smith. It was like, but it was the guy who found the link on a website, and or on a podcast like this one, and just bought a ticket, and they won. And so what happened was the money got sent to the Tesla dealership, and the guy drove away with a Tesla. I mean, it's beautiful. The 11th year, which is something that we did it a little bit differently this year, is we decided that there's so many different electric cars. So why do we have to lock someone into a Tesla? Okay, I mean, people have driven Teslas. Now you can get a Hummer, you can get a GMC, you can get a Lucid, you can get a Rivian. All these different electric cars are available. So the board actually got together with a few different people, and a lot of people who are all over the country, kind of taking like a focus group, so to speak, and say, hey, what should we do? And their idea was, listen, why do you have to lock people into Tesla? You're going to give $80,000 towards the car. They can win any car they want. And we were like, you know what? They're right. Doesn't matter to me. So we call it the Tesla raffle. But really, it's some of our marketing. You'll see 11 with the EV in the middle of 11, kind of emboldened, because it really doesn't matter what car you want. We'll give you that money towards that car. Send it to any dealership you want, or meet you at the dealership, or whatever it is. But it's an opportunity for somebody to actually drive away with an electric car. They can own it, they can lease it, they can do whatever they want with that money. It's theirs to spend on any electric car they want, and you're helping, you're obviously helping the environment. You're helping businesses, and you're doing good not only for the world, but you're doing good for local communities also, because of all the help that your $100 ticket, or if you buy more, you get a discount, things like that. However much you give, so that's already helping communities as well.
Yeah, no, I love the tying back to the nonprofit itself, because I think that's really important. I think I think that helps a lot to, like, when you're buying a raffle ticket, you want to win the thing, but you're unlikely to,
Right.
your chances are way better than lottery, but there's still not 1 out of 1,
Right. Right.
one out of some thousand. But I think as long as you feel like, oh, I'm helping people, I'm helping an organization, whether I win or lose, I think that's a massive difference maker. And I mean, when you went through your list of, talking points, I was like, wow. Like that really backed up what you were saying at the beginning of the podcast about the organization. It's truly impressive, amazing work that you guys are doing. This is really, really, really helpful stuff that, as you were saying, it probably goes underappreciated, under noticed, but makes a humongous difference, especially in a society where we don't have the best social support systems. We don't have the best, base care for half of society. So it's great stuff.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
gonna say, for me, it's like you brought up an excellent point. Like I often, if my kids or whoever will say like, hey, buy a raffle ticket. I have more fun taking the dollar bill and ripping it up and throwing it to a million pieces, or buying a bag of confetti and throwing that all over the place, or buying a hot air balloon, a helium balloon rather, and having fun with that. I mean, to me, it's way more fun than doing that, because the chance is so slim that you're going to win. It's almost not worth it. Here, there is a limited amount of tickets that are going to be sold. I think it's 9,999 or something. And I know that we've had tickets, we've had raffles where people have won literally from, like I said, from not a. I don't even think we've had. I think we have one Chicago winner in the 11 years. The other winners, I think, have been from out of state. We might have had another couple of Chicago winners who took money or things like that. But for the most part, I mean, really, it's open to the world, and anybody that wants to get in can get in. And again, like you said, Isaac, the feeling that you get, here's an opportunity. You're giving the money to a good cause. You can feel good about that, and you know that for your what I think is a minimal investment for something that you have the ROI, the potential ROI is just huge. And like I said, you're doing good for people, and you should know also that the Chesed Chicago in general is an organization that focuses on clean living and working to make sure that the world is a better place. We're very sensitive to recycling. We're very sensitive to making sure that we're conscious about carbon emissions and things like that. And even when we're talking about people who we help with utilities, we're always helping them with finding ways that they could save money on electricity and work with the government or other ways that they can be more efficient. We have a whole program where they'll meet with financial advisors at no cost to the clients, again, who can help them with different ways to be more efficient. I think efficiency is the key in your podcast, and it's definitely a key in our organization in general. It's just that's something that we focus on. I mean, there's literally no waste in the food that we get in. There's no waste in the clothing that we get in. I mean, everything that we get, nothing gets dumped into a garbage. It always gets put to a use. It gets recycled. It gets there's always something that it repurposed, some way that we are always trying to give back to the world, really.
Yeah. No, I mean, our clean tech focus is about people fundamentally. I mean, global warming and climate crisis are gonna hurt a lot of people, but really, billionaires and multimillionaires will find ways to avoid the worst effects of it, while those of us who are in the bottom half of society are going to have much more struggle. So it's really about protecting the futures and ensuring better futures for most people, for society. But yeah, with the raffles, we've worked for years with a couple of organizations. I don't think any of them go back 11 years with their raffles, but one of them, the Illinois Solar Energy Association, I assume maybe they saw yours and got tipped off from that. I don't know, but they've had a very successful one for several years now.
Yeah.
And it was funny to me because we partnered. They sponsored. They did a sponsorship with us for their first one, and then came back the next year again to do so. And it wasn't until then that I found out that their first winner was a CleanTechnica reader.
Oh, that's so cool!
Who had read the article, clicked the link, bought a ticket or more, and ended up winning. And I was like, hey, why do I not know? Why did I not
Right.
know that until now? Like, why didn't someone tell me that one of our readers won it because of our article? But that always inspired me. I've bought tickets several times for these raffles, and I was sort of talking from my own perspective, I guess. When I bought tickets, I was like, oh, I want to win this. It'd be great to win this vehicle that I can't buy otherwise. But even if I don't, I'm happy to support a great organization that's doing great work. In that case, advancing solar power in Illinois. We've also Chesapeake Climate Action Network, CCAN.
Sure.
We worked with them, and I think it was. I should know, but I think it's the trend now is to move toward offering more options, not just because I think they all started as Tesla raffles,
Right.
and
That's right.
I don't know if they've all taken the lead from you, so I give you credit if it's all stemmed from your decisions, but I
I know.
definitely the market
Yeah.
has the market has said, okay, people might want an ID Buzz, which I think
That's
is a
right.
very attractive car that a lot of people want, but it's a little outside of the price range or
Right.
practicality even. Like it's like maybe they'd love it, but they can't really justify spending this much money on a non-traditional vehicle. I don't know.
Yeah. I
Or
think.
yeah,
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
different EVs. There's a lot of different options. So I think giving people the choice just helps a lot and makes I mean, it's like being in a candy store. Now you wanted this candy, but then you're like, oh, but there's like 5 other candies I could get. Maybe I'll buy a few tickets. So I think it's
Right.
great, but it always comes back to like supporting organizations that do great stuff. And I think I've always said when I've worked with these organizations, like don't just emphasize emphasize what you're doing. And I think a lot more people will be willing to put the money in and know that even if they don't win, they feel good because they are helping a good organization. So I think you know that, and you you took the lead on that even when it was you were like, let me almost like apologetically. I'm like, no, do that because that's critical. And really, it's like the numbers you threw out were crazy. I mean, the amount of money and people going through your organization and helping people is. Yeah, it's really, really impressive. I'm ashamed to say I didn't know about it before, but thank you for reaching out and letting us know.
Oh, no problem. Like
Although
I said,
I'm not from Chicago, I'm from Florida, so I'll take that as my excuse.
we're still unfortunately a well kept secret, which we try not to be. But in the nature of this kind of business, so to speak, and this is one of the challenges, which is an interesting challenge. In the nature of this particular business, where you're helping people in such an intimate way. And you're helping people with their finances. You're helping people with their daily living needs. It's very hard to get somebody to say, "Oh yeah, to be that poster child. If it wasn't for them, I'd be destitute." Right? You're not going to have those people. And so one of the challenges that we have is that, as opposed to another nonprofit organization who might be able to, their clients or the people that they help might be able to say, oh, thank you very much to them. They gave me this. This is a very sensitive topic, not more so than a medical issue, for example, but when it comes to finances, it's a very, people are very guarded when it comes to their personal money, and they don't want to let people know that they needed a help or a helping hand in some way. And so that's one of the challenges that is how do we advertise when our own clients, it's hard for them to, we don't ask them to, but it's hard for them to, you're not going to have it by nature saying, oh, thanks to them we were able to do it. Oh, really? They're still good. You lose that little bit of a push. So the idea behind it is we do rely heavily on these types of things, these raffles. I mean, we don't have very many fundraisers throughout the year. This is a big one for us, and it's something that I know I didn't give out any information yet on how to buy a ticket, but the way it's very very
Go ahead and
encouraging.
do that before yeah. Go ahead and do that now, and then we'll wrap up. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So for those of you that want to help out, we really appreciate it. It's pretty simple. It's ccraffle.com. The letter C, and then raffle, RAFFLE.com. I think that at this point, the raffle is going to be September 1st. I think that it's going to be great. It's something that you can stream live and you can watch it as it's being drawn. It's all drawn by random, automatic computers and things like that. And like I said, if we can count on any of your listenership support, it would be amazing. ccraffle.com. your chance to not only help the environment, really, like we said, but also help people in need, and also win yourself either some cash or a very cool electric car.
Yeah, yeah, and I really do. I think it's really important to do this kind of thing, to have a kind of selfish appeal, what we can say, because I think everyone wants to help people, but there's so many things and so many people that need help, and it's like, we all only have so much money anyway, so it's like I think it's a hard thing to like, okay, I'm going to give this much money to someone. When you combine the other half of human nature, like if the part of human nature that wants
That's
to
right.
help, and then the part of human nature is like, oh, but I need to help myself.
Right.
I need to do something for myself. I need to look after my own house and family. When you combine them with a raffle like this, I just think it's like a perfect mixture, and it just, it just seems to me like it should get a lot more donations and activity than you would get normally just asking for people to help other people, which sadly that's the nature of humans and the world. But I like you were saying, I think it's really interesting what you point out, because it is really hard. I mean, this is one of the hardest things, to need financial support, to need support just living. No, nobody wants to be in that situation. Nobody wants to admit it, even or talk about it, even if they're the most honest and open person. It's like, it's a hard thing, and like you said, it's got to be hard to feature people and market what you're doing when that's the case, because you can talk about it generally in the abstract, but as we know from, as you can see from any kind of commercials for all kinds of products and marketing, it's that personal stories that make all the difference. It's like you get an actual human, one person or family to tell a story. That's what touches people. And you threw out some huge numbers. You can even repeat them because they're amazing.
Yeah, sure.
But it's hard for, like, if you had a family standing next to you and telling them about how you saved them, like, that would make a bigger difference probably, because we respond to that better. But yeah, throw those numbers out one more time, and then any wrap up thoughts. But really happy to be introduced to what you guys are doing, because it just makes me feel good to hear what you're doing, and anything we can help. I hope some of our listeners and readers will buy tickets and help join the cause.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'll throw out those numbers again. So you're looking at about a total of a $10 million expense every year, and it's about $4.5 million just in food and gift cards for food to different folks in the area. And $367,000 is provided in 2024 for single parents. Almost $400,000 for scholarships for kids to go to camp and go to school. Again, almost over $300,000 for teen programming. We talked about the fact that teens need a place to go, drop zones and things like that. So we have you talk about partnership. We've partnered with other organizations who are professionals at running teen organizations, and said we will provide the funding for you guys to run those programs. And that has been a beautiful partnership, because they're the experts of the team programming, and we're just able to provide those funding, so it accomplishes all those goals.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. It gets back to what you're talking about, partnering.
That's right, and taking off that territory hat and saying, I know that you guys can do it. I can help fund that, and it's been gold. We've had a lot of people really excited about that. Over $1 million in medical and pediatric therapies, $350,000 for just helping people to avoid eviction, and then almost $100,000 in utilities. And so you have all of helping people with utilities, and that goes without saying. All the other the other things that we do, what I would call the little things of having people come and learn how to we have a wing called JobLink, where we can help people find jobs. We have a place where they can learn how to manage their finances better. We have a place where they can learn how to live cleaner in a environmental sense better, like your listeners do. And so we have all of these things. And just to get back to one point that you mentioned about a listener winning and you don't know about it, the smile that I want to say the smile that you see, but a lot of times you don't see it, but the smile that you almost hear, the pause when I've been at the phone call when the executive director makes the call to the winner and says, "Hey, this is from ChesedChicago," And is this, whoever? So, yeah. Well, do you remember you bought a ticket for, and, oftentimes the response is no. Says, well, you did, and da-da-da. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. Well, you want an electric car. And there's just this pause, and then this insane, like, scream of joy. It's like, because they were so happy, like you said, giving that money, and then kind of, forgetting about it, thinking that, like, okay, that money was given to somebody who we know that it went to a good cause. The fact that you win is just the icing on the cake, and you win either way. You really do. You really a winner either way. This is a nonprofit. This is not an organization that is taking the money and saying, "Oh, look how much we're going to make." This is how much more opportunity do we have to spend on people that really need it. So, ccraffle.com is the way to do it, and it should be amazing. I look forward to seeing all the tickets roll in from CleanTechnica.
Yeah, great stuff. Great ending. You're really good at what you do. I have nothing to add then. You kept taking words out of my mouth. So great job. Appreciate what you do, and good luck with this year's raffle.
Thank you, Zach. Keep up the great work with the podcast, and really, I enjoy listening to it. It's fantastic.
Thank you.